We also have Svea Gold, who is a neurodevelopmental educator and the author of a book, If Kids Just Came with Instruction Sheets, Creating a World Without Child Abuse. She would like to come on and share her experience working with Benjamin. Welcome to the show, Svea.
Well, thanks. I'm always almost afraid to talk about this because it sounds like such miracle work, you know. And when I first heard about craniosacral work, I thought, well, you know, nobody's going to mess with my kid's brain, right? And then I saw pictures of juvenile delinquents before and after, and the first time they would have these really angry eyes, and then after just a session or two, they would look at you just like any other kid. So then I was working with juvenile delinquents, and there was this one boy, and one of his eyebrows was higher than the other. And he had all kinds of problems, but I figured I can't do anything until I know just what's going on there. So we got him to see Benjamin. And the next session he comes back and the face is even. And not only that, but he used to sort of walk like that, and now he was walking straight. Now we worked with him a whole lot of things with a whole lot of other problems. And Benjamin saw him once a month. And he invited the probation officer and me for his high school graduation, which was fantastic because this kid was going down. That's only one, okay? Then we had a workshop for kids who'd been on Ritalin over the winter.
Right.
And over the summer, we taught the parents how to work with these kids. And Benjamin came to see what we were doing. And he volunteered to see each child once for free. And there was a little girl, and I can't mention her name, but she was the most waif-like little thing you've ever seen. She was just shy and nothing. And she was actually the sister of a boy who was enrolled in the group, but I tested her anyway. And I tested to see if she could follow a line from up and down. And she lost it. She didn't see anything over the horizon. And the mother had said that this girl had never in her life looked at her own mother. There was no eye contact, which was just absolutely devastating.
Right.
Benjamin took this little girl first. And the next time she came in, she was a totally different little child. And the next morning she had said to her mother at breakfast, mind you, this little girl was 6 years old, okay? He has changed my entire life. And after that, she became part of the group. She would do things that she never did before. She was an alive little girl. Okay, that's miracle number 2. Miracle number 3. I had a friend who had a baby. I didn't see him until he was 8 months old. And when I saw him, he had this bump on his forehead. And I didn't think much about it at the time. And then when I left, I thought, gee, there's pressure and the fontanelles are swollen and there's fluid coming out up there. This kid's going to be hydrocephalic. And he'd been to the doctor, but nobody had caught up on it. Got Benjamin there as fast as possible, and this little boy is absolutely fine. That swelling went down. The fluid that had been putting enormous pressure on her brain was gone. We still work with this little boy once in a while. You know, this is not just one thing. It's a holistic stuff. And people bring me their children that everybody else has given up on. And I look at them and I always say, let's go see Benjamin just to be on the safe side. And that's, it sounds, you know, almost fake, but that's what happens.
It sounds like you have, and you've only shared 3 experiences, and I imagine you probably have a lot more. It sounds like you have great value in the work that he does.
Yeah, it's not a question, you know, it's not always that immediate. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but when it does happen, it is just absolute magic.
Benjamin, it sounds like the work that you're doing right now with craniosacral therapy is so wide in scope in terms of what what its applications are. As you said, anyone that has a craniosacral system, or a central nervous system is what you said, could benefit from the work. If people have taken the time to watch the show tonight, how could they get in touch with you? And I also know that you've done some work with a local organization called the Brain Center, and if you could just talk very briefly about that. And then when you're finished, I would like to invite you to give a demonstration on your table of what craniosacral actually looks like, if you'd be willing to do that.
Great. So, yeah, the Brain Center, it's interesting that my main teacher, the woman that I refer to as my main teacher, worked in the corrections, because here, Savea Gold, who talked earlier, worked with adjudicated youth. The main goal of a nonprofit that I'm a board member of here in Eugene is to help adjudicated and or at-risk teenagers. Because more than anyone, I think they're falling through the cracks.
Right.
There are certain services that they just don't receive. And if we're talking about central nervous systems and being balanced and being able to, first, I think, even be able to make a conscious choice about what they're doing with their life is huge. And a lot of these kids have never, well, one, their nervous systems may not have ever been able to take in information that in a way that they can make a choice about their attitude or about their behavior. And most often what we find is that when we have one brain injury, we're more likely to have more. So we keep on making mistakes or poor judgment where we get ourselves in situations where we get more brain injuries. So then the situation just gets worse from there. So the Brain Center is the website at the Brain Center, which I think we'll post.
We'll put that on.
We'll put that on.
Yeah.
We'll have more information as well about this work, both articles and such. And there may be the opportunity for the information to also be posted on the Pain Society of Oregon's website as well. So there'll be really good contact information there.
And what about if people want to work with you?
Myself, that's pretty important right about now, depending on when the show airs, because Quest omitted us from the phone book this year. I'm not in the phone book, so come June we'll be in the phone book again, I'm sure. But that phone number, my office number is 744-2882.
744-2882 is the way that people can get in touch with you.
Correct. That would be the best line to reach.
Great. You know, I really have appreciated you being willing to come on the show today and share about craniosacral therapy. I had the benefit of being on your table and experiencing the gentleness and subtlety yet profoundness of the work that you do. And listening to the testimonials of some of the other clients that you've had, it's so clear that the applications are really beneficial to a wide spectrum of conditions. And it's my hope that the people in the viewing audience have been given a craniosacral therapy 101 lesson so that they have a little bit better understanding of what you do. And ultimately, like so many other forms of body work, it seems that in order for them to really understand what it is, they'd have to experience it. And I hope they get a chance to with you.
There you go.
Speaking of which, if you would be willing to show us what it actually looks like on your table, we'd love to see an example of that.
Great.
So thanks for
look
coming
forward
on.
to it. Thank you so much indeed. Yeah.